planet now. Well, maybe we should go to a different topic. Of course, the next topic I wanted to touch on was a great chapter, is when and how did everything begin? And of course, that's one that's near and dear to both our hearts, in the sense that both of us, in ways, have thought about origins one way or another, and one of the reasons we've spent so much time together is exactly that reason. So maybe you want to talk about that.
I suppose a major aspect of that problem is how did complicated and massive and impressively large things come about. It's relatively easy to understand how simple things could come about. It's not infinitely easy, but it's much easier to understand how simple things came about than how complicated things came about. And the whole Darwinian enterprise has been the explanation for how you can get these prodigiously complicated things like oak trees and wombats and humans, starting from not nothing, but starting from something relatively simple like naked genes in the origin of life. Once you've got naked genes, once you've got some accurate self-replicating coding, then the Darwinian process kicks in, and we understand pretty much how you would get the diversity of life, how you would get the complexity of life, and the powerful illusion of design that living things convey. And that's the Darwinian solution, and we've known about it and understood it ever since 1859, with certain boosts in our understanding since. There was a big boost in our understanding around about 1930, when R.A. Fisher, who ended his days in Australia, by the way, and J.B.S. Haldane and Sewall Wright pioneered the application of Mendelian genetics to evolutionary theory. That was a big step forward. And then the Watson and Crick revolution in 1953, when it was understood that genes are powerfully digital in their very nature, and that was another very, very major step forward. So we've now got a pretty good understanding of how you can go from primeval simplicity, chemical simplicity. It's not that simple, but it's relatively simple compared to life. How you can go from that to, first of all, bacterial life, and then increasing complexity of life with ever-enlarging nervous systems, and finally brains so powerful, human brains, that they can understand how the whole process happened. But that gets us back to primeval chemistry, and then biologists, as it were, hand over to physical scientists, and how you get chemistry. Well, chemistry seems to be cooked. The chemical elements are cooked in the interior of stars, and then how do you get stars? That's where I kind of hand over to Lawrence, I suppose.
Well, I want to, before we get to that a little bit, I wanted to follow up. By the way, there's one thing I meant to say, which I think is important. The interesting thing is these questions are questions kids ask. But one of the things I was happy to say about this book, when I've written about it, is that it's a book for everyone. Kids ask them, but adults ask them, and I think it's what's really nice about it is it's a really appropriate book for young people, but also for adults, because you shouldn't be embarrassed about reading this book, because it really talks about the very questions that we all ask, and we should never stop asking. But one of the interesting, I want to